So society obviously expects teenagers to be thinking about a career. I think now it's as early as freshman year of high school. And I think that can be very confusing for those of us who just aren't interested in a traditional track of high school, college, career. So it, you know, I didn't get the message that it was okay, and that was very confusing to me. My sister went the traditional route quite successfully in this to this to this. It was very confusing to my parents as well as myself that nowhere in my body did I want to go to college. I wanted to ski, I wanted to play, I wanted to ride horses, I wanted to travel, and I did. So I think the important point there is it's okay to do that, but you have to be willing to not have the approval, the acceptance of either parents or society. They're not, maybe they understand, but maybe they don't. So you have to let go of that for a while, and hopefully they'll watch and know that through this different avenue, you end up exactly at the same point. So here I am, Miss Professional, licensed marriage family therapist. None of my family would have expected this when I was living in a tent in Hawaii. So that course I took was very misunderstood, and it was confusing to me why people didn't understand, or why aren't they supporting this? And so I almost went even more rebellious, which wasn't useful. So I think the advice I would give is to follow your heart, but you can't have that and possibly the appreciation and approval of others at the same time. So most people pick one, and my sister settled on what was expected of her and did quite well. I wouldn't have done very well doing that. So it was expected that I would go to college right out of high school. There was no other option for me from my parents, and that was very confusing, but I agreed, and I went to 1 year of college to prove to them that I can do it, I just don't want to. And during that year I became interested in skiing, and so I finished the year, showed the world that I could get good grades, and then I disappeared for 8 years from college and went and I had a career in skiing, I had a career in surfing, all of which I think what's important is that I supported myself. So it wasn't that I was out recklessly playing and using somebody else's money. I'm out supporting myself barely. You have to be very willing to eat top ramen, right? But exploring the world my way, figuring things out, growing wings, growing things inside of me that needed to be done only that way. I didn't learn it in high school. I didn't learn it in my family, but I sure learned it on the road. I did go back to college to get, I had a desire. I wanted to teach. So I went back and got my bachelor's in English and Spanish in order to teach. I still wasn't ready to go into the business world. So I disappeared into Africa for 3 years. I taught English as a second language, and I loved it. My parents had given up by then. They thought, well, with her bachelor's, she'll do something useful. Next thing you know, I'm living in a hut in Africa. So all of that, the skiing, the surfing, the teaching, the traveling, was my version of gaining the self-confidence, the wisdom that then I would need to make that decision at 35. Okay, it's time, and launch into a career of marriage family therapist.